Hello, I'm Dr. Jeanette Raymond, psychologist, psychotherapist, and relationship expert, here with my final series on relationship triangles, part 7. And this one is going to talk to you about a husband, a wife, and the third prong of the triangle is a substance or an activity. It could be alcohol, it could be smoking weed, it could be other kinds of drugs, it could be painkillers, it could be any numbing agent, including stuffing yourself with food, or it could be being busy in your phone, being busy around the house, being busy at work, being so active that you become unavailable to your partner. And this is a very common one, as you know, because couples complain all the time that their one or other of the partner doesn't sit down and talk, they're never in the mood, they've always got something to do, or they're getting stoned on booze, weed, other kinds of drugs. And of course, a lot of women in particular use food to kind of stuff themselves, and so they pad themselves with a kind of a barrier to prevent their partner from getting near. And so the alcohol becomes the alcohol, the weed, the food, the whatever it is, the work, the busyness, becomes their kind of shield, their shell, if you like, within which they live to keep themselves safe. And that becomes the thing, or whatever it is you want to call it, that they are married to, right? They're not married to their actual partner, but they're close with, they're always in touch with the safe experience, even though it doesn't always have good long-term effects. It's safe. If you go to the fridge and there's tons of food there, it's not going to talk back at you. If you drink a lot of booze, it might make you feel numb in the moment. Okay, you may have a hangover, but at least it didn't talk back at you, it didn't criticize you, it didn't make you feel like your life was in threat because someone was going to leave you or abandon you or judge you. So these kind of things are really important prongs of the triangle because they create a wedge between the partners. And so you might ask, well, how did this happen? If the couple got together, they must have fell in love, they must have wanted to be close, they must have dreamed of a life of intimacy and closeness and sharing with each other and supporting and encouraging. How did it happen? Well, it happens very easily because usually their experience of closeness in their earlier life wasn't all good. In fact, if it was good for a while, then the person became very suspicious because they were waiting for the next shoe to fall. So anything that was good in terms of an interaction that felt good, maybe somebody praised you or smiled at you, gave you a bit of affection or recognized something you did, in some way it kind of took you in and wanted to be near you, it was always followed by some kind of abandonment, attack, criticism, leaving to do something else. And so that got conditioned, if you like. So if there's a good, there must be a bad. And the bad kind of literally wipes away all the good stuff like acid and leaves you with rawness, it leaves you with redness, it leaves you with itchiness, it leaves you with the most terrible discomfort and tension. So you need to soothe yourself. And the best thing you can do, if this is happening to you when you're a child, an adolescent, a young person, when you have so little control over the other people in your life, when you feel helpless and powerless, is you grab food, you grab alcohol, you grab weed, you grab OxyContin, you grab anything around, exercise bike, jogging, anything that will fill that hole and make you narrow your focus to something really, really, really so small that you are no longer threatened by the outside world. Because the outside world, i.e. the people in your life, it could have been your parents, your partner, siblings, grandparents, whoever it is you felt close to, They could be good, but the good was always followed by the bad. So is it worth the risk? Should you allow yourself to come out of your shell and be vulnerable and let them come in and give you a moment's worth of goodness, good feelings, good connection, feeling valued, feeling that somebody, you matter, that somebody cares about you? If in the next moment you're going to be have a vat of boiling oil poured on you, or acid that eats away from you from the inside. So this is how it works. So despite the fact that you may have met a partner and found that you want to marry them, and this is going to be the answer to your prayers, and it's going to undo all the wounds of your past, what you're not seeing is that you're only seeing the good stuff over there, and you're imagining or hoping or pretending or denying that the bad stuff isn't there. Because you don't have the person full time. You're not in a moment-to-moment situation with them like you were when you were a kid, and you were forced to do that because you were tied to them. But slowly, as your partnership develops, you begin to feel it more and more. You may ignore it in the beginning, and then it becomes more, you feel like you're back in your earlier days, having to deal with being afraid of good stuff, not being able to hold on to it. And then you develop a kind of preemptive strategy. Well, I'm not even going to hope for the goodness. I'm not even going to pretend it's there. I'll only have it in my fantasy because it's safe. And so you need the alcohol, the weed, the OxyContin, the other painkillers, the work, the food, the exercise, whatever it may be, the going in your phone, watching TV, video games, gambling, whatever it might be, pornography, to constantly shield you from the probability that things are going to come at you in a bad and negative way. And you can't trust the little smile, the little wink, the little pat on the back, the little, massage here and there. It's not going to work. So that's what happens in a relationship where trust is completely broken down. You're constantly feeling threatened, and you need the safety of a substance or an activity, because that's always reliable, consistent, and under your control. And you can have all the good fantasies in your mind because it's safe. You can change it, you can make it worse, you can make it better. You're in control. You're not at the mercy of a person who's good one moment and slamming you the next. So in these kind of triangles, it's very difficult to work with the couple. You have to work with the person who's afraid, who's using the drugs, the weed, the alcohol, the work, the food, whatever it might be, and create a relationship where they begin to trust, because you, the therapist, me, is always there, consistent, reliable, understanding. There's room only for you. And we work stuff out together so that the person needs the alcohol, weed, food, booze, whatever it is, less and less and less. And they are more hungry for real connection that they can trust, even though it's not always perfect. And that starts with the therapeutic relationship. And then it transfers to the relationship in the couple. And then we can bring the other person in. And hopefully the other person needs to do their own work, because they also have issues of not feeling safe, feeling threatened, scared to feel good in case the other shoe drops, and so on and so forth. It's a long, drawn-out process. It starts very, very early on. And I'll give you an example. One of my patients came from a family where his parents were always fighting, and he had to take care of them, and there was never any room for him. And so as he grew up, he began to distance himself from the pain of always having to be a grown-up and taking care of his parents by drinking. And he made friends that would drink. He would take drugs and they would take drugs. And so he created another family, but they used substances to make themselves feel good and support one another. So then in his adulthood, he met his future wife, who had also been traumatized in her childhood by feeling unsafe, by parents who were never there, who were philandering, who were in and out of the children's lives, promising them one thing the next moment, taking it away the next, never making them feel safe for a long enough period. So his wife, his future wife, also had to find a way of taking care of herself and soothing herself and keeping herself shielded from this chaotic family environment that she couldn't trust. So what did she use? She used work and she used food. She would stuff herself and then binge and purge because it would feel awful. It wasn't the kind of connection she wanted. And then she would work from guilt because she had to use up the calories and focus her mind on other people so that she wouldn't feel bad. And of course, her future husband thought, great, I get someone to focus on me, to work for me, to take care of me. How great. And she thought, wow, I have this guy who knows how to look after me. He knows how to make me feel safe. He took care of his parents. He's got the ideal background to take care of me. And what happened after a while? Clash, because neither of them wanted that. They saw only the side of each other that each of them wanted to get rid of, that they were running away from. And so it took a long time of each one doing their own personal work and couples therapy together that enabled them to feel safe, to share feelings, to feel connected, to talk about the disconnect, about their fears of what would happen, her fears if he drunk himself into oblivion, his fears of her never sitting down and talking, being busy doing things, or eating herself into a stupor. So neither of them were emotionally available for each other. And that's what happened when I first got to know them. But by helping them do their own work, by making them feel safer, by making them feel the connection with me, that they got the parenting they never had, I became the third prong of the triangle instead of the booze, instead of the food, instead of the work. And then gradually, I kind of gave them back to each other so that they could develop their own connection. And then the third part of their triangle could be love, connection, kids, whatever they wanted it to be, but in a healthy way. So I hope you found this interesting. Love to hear your comments and your experiences. And I'll see you again soon.